This episode is brought to you by Munton's Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Munton's has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Munton's offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Munton's malt. You know, we've known the Munton's crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Munton's malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Munton's, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsdirect.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
From homebrewer to pro brewer, an interview with Ryan Hansen. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 360. Honestly, one of these days I'm going to figure it out. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. Of course, this is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com. You could click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, you can call it in. You can leave a voicemail at 325-305-6107. And when I use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Stubing, and joining me today, actually, I have stuff written down. It's a special showcase format of our podcast because Todd and James are just now getting back from Germany, and they're actually technically back now, but I'm just being petty at this point and seeing how long I can keep them off the show. But I did write down notes. Joining me on this episode, it's my buddy Ryan Hansen. You may remember that name because we featured Ryan on the show before. He created the Homebrewer Pro course that is available at udemy.com. That'll be in the show notes. He's also now a craft brewery consultant at bigpopbrewing.com. And most recently, he's a founder of Hazard's Hop Water, a golf course-centric assortment of hop waters with flavors like passion fruit, grapefruit, lime and mint, and classic citra. Ryan, my friend, thank you for joining me.
Hey.
Dude,
I love being here.
It's good to see you. Thank you for a couple things. When people are not Todd and James and they're on the show, I always have to apologize for making you sit through the 34 minutes of ads. I'm not willing to edit those in post. I'm very committed to the shtick of this is a one shot. And I tell people, we record it like it's live. And then I'm like, oh, but if you mess up, we'll edit it. No, I don't. 9 out of 10 times, no, I don't. So no pressure. But anyway,
no, I love Imperial. I love all of the brands that you're pitching. So why not?
When was listening to that ad with you on mute, I remember like you're a huge fan of Imperial. You've used their
100%,
stuff, and you used more of their strains than I have because you brew more than just Kolsch. So you, I did notice that one year I think you used their bubbles. Was it for a cider you did? I want to say
it was a cider,
but they're not doing it this year.
I can't remember. I
use
it for both,
but I don't think they're doing it this year. I heard it through the grapevine, not through them, because I don't do seltzers or cider anyway. But someone reached out and said, "Hey, I wanted to get it and I can't get it, but I think it's commercial. Could you try to order it?" And I was like, "No. I'm not gonna do that. Like, get them to send me a huge jug of it and then send it to someone else." But anyways, Imperial, all the sponsors of the show, fantastic people. Before we get into the whole kind of minutia of like what you've been up to, it's been over 2 years since we've last talked to you on the show. I mean, I talked to you on Instagram specifically.
Yeah, we send each other jujitsu memes.
We send each other jujitsu memes. Thank you for clarifying what we send each other. My wife listens to this show. Also, shout out to my wife. A reminder, friends, if you have a pint glass that has logos on it, don't put it through the dishwasher, honey. This is what it ends up looking like. Our Kolsch stages, though, are shipped out. That's also a good reminder to tell people. If you were supposed to get a Kolsch stage, I've sent it out to you, and recipe kits and all that. So yeah, let me get through some small talk, Ryan, and then we'll get into the show. Like I did mention, Todd and James, friends, they are back. Todd actually got in last night and then immediately went home, felt sick, and he has COVID. And I think we're at the point now where, fortunately, it's watered down is the wrong word. I'm going to get in trouble if I don't either take COVID serious enough or if I take it too serious. Our audience is a mixed bag of goofballs, but I believe he's okay. And I think that it is like a mild cold for him. He's not dying or nothing, but he couldn't go to the office. And I told him, that's fine with me, bro, because you weren't going to be on the show this week anyway. I'm not sure I'm going to have you on the show next week. I'm not sure when I'm going to have you back on the show. We'll see. I do miss James, though. I'll get James on the show soon. But I gave James a day off because he's running headquarters by himself. I did that the last 8 days. James does that frequently when Todd's out on sales calls or whatever. And I have a newfound respect for Mr. Carlson because he probably does 1,000 times more than I did the last 10 days. And I did 1,000 times more than what I normally do. So that's saying a lot. So I guess I do need to start off by apologizing to people whose orders I sent out. You can, if there was mess ups or anything, email tburns@cadconnection.com. He'll get you taken care of, but I don't think it was too bad of mess ups. I will say something that's interesting and will be relevant when we're talking about you, Ryan. We sold a ton of these soda carbonating kits, which are for people who are trying to, a lot of the times it's marketed towards people getting out of the SodaStream ecosystem. I'm sure you're familiar with SodaStream and what they're doing.
I use one. Yep.
Yeah, right. So people that are like, I don't want to spend, all the money on the proprietary canisters or blah, blah, blah. They get just these little carbonation caps that go on like 2-liter things. And they have a post for a disconnect, a ball lock disconnect. And so we've been selling a crap ton of those lately. And
those are cool.
Yeah. Well, and where I'll go with it when I'm finished with the small talk is I think a lot of people are interested in non-alcoholic fizzy drinks of all kinds. I think that's a huge trend. And again, when we get to it, I'll pick your brain about that because you are kind of made yourself a very valuable consultant in the industry. Like you've gotten, you've got the chops now. It's been a couple years and all that. So yeah. So sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Let me finish the small talk.
You're good. Yeah. No, I need to get one of those carbonation tools. I do use the SodaStream, and I'm frequently doing like test batches, say for hot water, for example. And I don't want to make 5 gallons of something. I make
2
whatever it
liters,
is, 800 milliliters, dose it small scale. And that way I'm like, all right, I like it, or I don't like it. Cool. It's a number.
Yeah. I'll get you one out on the house. And by on the house, I mean Todd's money.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so I'll get you one now. Todd's not here. You get a carbonation cap, and I'm the Oprah Winfrey. Actually, I just looked at myself. This is also evidence if you're watching us at youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. I let myself go, guys. In my, I was going to say this is my Rocky Balboa sweatshirt, but no, it's my still in my pajamas. I let myself go. I haven't shaved. My wife this morning said, I think you have a gray hair in your mustache. It's crusted milk from the cereal I ate at 2 a.m. I've let myself go. Todd and James are back. I might get myself out of this rut I'm in now that they're back. But anyways, through the small talk, Todd and James are back. Oh, all the November kits my friends have shipped. I don't have it on the screen here, but the California Common, if you're a member of our recipe receiving tiers at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, November was a California Common featuring premium ingredients from Muntins, Hops Direct, and the cable car strain from our friends at Imperial. Those all finally went out this week. The last Monday of the month, I was Cyber Monday, and I was busy helping do orders. And then the Monday that just happened this week, our FedEx guy was like, I can't pick those up today. So they all went out Tuesday. They should be getting to you soon. If you need tracking information, check patreon.com. You can text me. Actually, everyone already knows it. I get texts from people all the time. The number 325-305-6107 is a voicemail hotline, but it does receive text straight to here. So if you're a podcast listener and you want to submit your question that way, or if you're a Chub Club member and you want to get more immediate communication with me, because I promise I don't mind communication, but Patreon, I don't know if you've ever used it as a user or a creator, Ryan, but their notification system's garbage in regards to letting me know when people send a message. I don't see it until I happen to log into Patreon. And spoiler, guys, I log into Patreon twice a week at best. Like, it's not much. Like, because they're getting all the information from the show or from homebrewhappyhour.com or that email newsletter list. I'm not updating, but the recipes really on patreon.com, which some people are like, I thought you'd be more active on Patreon. That's why I joined. I'm like, join the Facebook group. I'm there, but I am addicted to my cell phone. So you can always text me and I will get it in real time when I'm not playing Shadow League. This episode's I always told Todd I was going to do that. I was going to get us sponsored by one of those popular YouTube games that everyone's like Shadow Raid or whatever they're called. That was my attempt at it. I was trying to inject it there. Sorry, I'll get through this. And then December's kit, it will be announced on next week's episode because we're finalizing getting a shipment. I have grains for one idea, but I don't have other stuff. And Muntins is getting us a pallet of other grains, and Todd wants to do a different recipe. So if I can get the stuff promised to me in time before the end of this month, it might change up the whole thing, but it's between a porter and a different ale. So just so you know, it's probably going to be a porter, a London porter, I believe is what Todd wants to do. And I say that because Todd gets his way 99% of the time. And so more information will be on for sure by next week's episode. But if you're a member at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, look for the announcement any day now as I get confirmation now that Todd's back in the country. The Muntins guys were also at the Brew in Germany. So everyone was ignoring my emails and text messages, but now they're all back, allegedly back to work. I can get stuff done. Allegedly. So so go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join a recipe receiving tier, or join any tier. We greatly appreciate your support, and I promise you we could not do this without it. So thank you for all that. Is that a record? No, crap. It's like 12 and a half minutes into the show. Darn it. I normally, if I can get it under 10 minutes, I pat myself on the back. That was almost like a regular show. I apologize for making you sit through that, but let's welcome you again. I so greatly appreciate your time, especially on kind of short notice. I think I asked you last week, hey, what are you doing Wednesday? And you're like, I will make time for you. I know you're an adult with a job and all that, so I won't take up too much, but I want to, well, first off, since last time you were on, we've gotten a ton more people in our audience, and a lot of them are new to the show in period, and they didn't go way back, years of content. So a lot of people aren't familiar with you. Let's do a recap of kind of your introduction into the realm of home brewing and craft beer and all that stuff. Tell us a little bit give us a recap of Ryan Hansen.
A quick recap. So I have like 12 to 20 minutes to do this, right?
35 to 50. Yeah. If you're me, dragging it out. Yeah.
So with a healthy dose of ADHD, I have historically bounced from hobby to hobby, go all in, spend a bunch of money, and then it just fizzles, right? And so home brewing, for whatever reason, just stuck. And so it's been over a decade now. My wife got me a little, the 1 gallon Mr. Beer kit or whatever. And I made it on Christmas Day when I received it. Oh, so Christmas, dude, we're probably at like the 11-year mark. I got to look back. I forget what year it was. Anyway, I make it on the stovetop. it was atrocious, but my brain is like, no, we can figure this out. And so I just started binge watching, the classic channels. We've got Beer and Barbecue Larry and so many good dudes on YouTube. All that stuff was there. So I just binge watched that. Landed on, it was the Clawhammer Supply to make 5-gallon batches. Love that system. Still own it. Still use it. And I've upgraded around that. But yeah, I mean, the bug bit me, and it really kicked into high gear when we kind of outgrew our last house. And so I went from just, a little corner in the garage where I would do it to, hey, babe, if we're going to buy this house, I have to have either a shed or a third car garage or something where I can turn that into a formal brewery. That was the beginning of the end. And so built a walk-in chiller with 6 taps. Oh yeah, you guys got me all the equipment to upgrade that to the duo type push fittings.
Yeah, buddy.
That video's on YouTube for that.
Yeah, buddy. Link in the description.
And yeah, put it in there. That came out good. So I'm like, how do I take this further? During COVID, that opportunity fell in my lap where a local brewery they didn't have a brewer. Their brewer quit when everything shut down, obviously, because he can't brew or do anything. He went to find a job somewhere else. They had a bunch of tanks that had ancient beer in them. Everything was dusty and closed up because everything had been closed for a year. When they started being able to let people back in for to-go sales and then, outdoor seating, which they had, they're like, we just need stuff in the tanks. And so I'm like, all right, well, my day job is super slow because I can't go into hospitals for work. And so I took over a 10-barrel brew house, and I'd never done anything that size. I'd helped brewers with brew days and stuff, nothing more than shoveling grains for a couple of free pints. So that was like, oh, I can actually do this. And I just had to go in and figure it out. Did, full test batch with just water, cleaned everything, figured everything out, so I wrote SOPs for them. And I'm like, okay, I like this, but I don't want to be a production brewer. That was enough taste for me where I'm like, that big scale, everything is just, it takes a long time. And I don't know, doing the same things over and over every day kind of didn't tickle my fancy too much. So I'm like, all right, so I've got experience as a professional. I love brewing and doing new stuff and testing new products that are coming out on the market, which is like every month now, new stuff to come out and play with. And so I kind of landed on the consulting side. So I paired the MBA that I've got with the experience, both brewing and in business, running a brewery. And that's how I landed as a brewery consultant. So yeah, I still very much homebrew. I'm out there at least 2-3 times a month making something. The fermenters are always full, always have stuff on tap. And so I'm very much still a home brewer, but I also have my other foot in the professional side.
2 follow-ups. 1, do you remember the first batch that you ever did almost 11 years ago? And 2, why are you rubbing my nose in that you're an MBA and I dropped out of college? I don't understand. No.
It's the street cred. I gotta drop that. Yeah. The first batch, it was a pale ale, and the yeast was, it was, I believe it was at Target or something. So the hops had obviously been not refrigerated. They were God knows how old, and it was just it all bad because it came with that like 1-step cleanser where like who knows what that even is. It's not PBW, it's not Star Sands. What even is this? I don't think it was infected. It was oxidized, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And my family and friends kind of muscled through those bottles with me and were like, this is good. But in my head I'm like, no. We'll figure this out and fix it. So that was very much the beginning of the end.
Now, what about the first batch you ever did on that Clawhammer? Because I am interested to pick your brain because I do, you've been around for what you're doing, especially when you were developing that course that's now on Udemy, and I'll put the link down there too. You've been experienced with various equipment, and there is a huge difference between outside propane cooking or all-in-one electric or 3-vessel Herms or 2-vessel rims, or there's a huge difference. So that claw hammer is an all-in-one electric system. And that was your first foray into all grain brewing as well. Do you remember the first batch you did? And then what made you feel the need to upgrade from that? Was it just batch size, or was it more something else that the Herm system you're on now fulfilled?
I remember it vividly because the day I ordered it, I also went on to More Beer and got one of their kits. It was the Pliny the Elder clone. And it was the most complicated thing that I possibly could have tried. It. All homebrewers do it. They're like, I want to make this pastry stout with Cheerios and here's some corn syrup. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But we all bite it off. And I'm pretty sure that's a massive grain bill. Tons of hops. It had a hop shot. I didn't even know what those were. And I just followed the instructions and it came out, that one came out pretty good. I remember liking it. Of course, I really didn't know how to properly drink or taste or, sample beer, judge it or anything like that. And so, I mean, if I tried it now, maybe I would be a little more humble about it. But the claw hammer, it's all-in-one electric. I landed on that because at 110, it was perfect for 5-gallon batches, but it's got up to a 10-gallon capacity. So you can put your full amount of water and full amount of grains all in at the same time. So you don't have to sparge or do anything separately. It's just all there. So I really like that. And it's a basket instead of a bag. Basket has these cool little clips that you put on the side of the kettle. So while it's draining, you can go push it down and everything. It's easy to clean, easy to use, and just absolutely love those guys.
Yeah, the all-in-ones are great. I use the G40, which is similar system, different companies from Grainfather. But Clawhammer, super reputable people and their equipment, and a lot of people I know. I'm sure they do well at Christmas time because people look up especially for compact brewing, right? Because I didn't know if you got it for the sake of not having the space, or if you got it for the sake of kind of learning the ropes of all grain. Because I know a lot of people get into all-in-ones for both, really.
Right. I got in it just because I could do that full batch all in one without having separate vessels and stuff. And like I said, I was in my garage on like a countertop that had all of my other tools and, lawn mowing equipment and all of that stuff. And so space was of the essence as well. I did try the gas turkey fryer method with a bag out back and just with kids running around, and I had like little kids at the time. It was just dangerous. And so all the considerations went into it. That's why I landed on that. And like I said, I still have it. It's still very much in use all the time. I only upgraded to the bigger batch because I was going through, I'll host like men's groups or get-togethers, all the neighbors come over. I was going through it too fast. And so I was like, well, if I'm gonna make an IPA and spend, 4 hours out in the brewery, I want to make 10 gallons at a time. So I bought a couple of 10-gallon kegs and just upgraded that. So my key, my home recipes, I make those at 10-gallon batches. And you mentioned porter recipe. That's one of them. And I've got it on tap now. Absolutely love it. And, it just made sense to go up to that. And I bumped up to 240 volt. So everything was way, way faster. So instead of like 45 minutes to an hour to get up to mash temp and then boil, it's like 20 minutes for 10-gallon batches. It's awesome.
Dude, 240 is a game changer. If you're electric brewing, oh my gosh. I have the original mash and boil in my garage for sparge water. And when I'm doing a brew day on the Grainfather G40, I start the mash, like it's up to temp and start mash. And I immediately, as soon as I mash in, I immediately have to turn on the mash and boil for it to get just the sparge temp because I do still sparge. And it's just wild to me that thing's running that whole time that slow. And it's almost perfect timing. The minute I'm ready to mash out or I'm ready to sparge, the mash and boil is finally at temp. I'm like, oh my God. If I was brewing on this full time every time, I'd probably be a lot more frustrated. Just impatient. Frustrated is the wrong word, because mash and boil is great. I mean, there's a ton of great equipment. We don't sell it anymore, so I don't feel obligated to not talk bad about any of them. But I'm just saying there's a ton of great solutions, and the all-in-one electrics are, I think, a great intro for people who want to start all grain brewing, but it's also great for people who've been brewing forever. I know Denny Kahn over at Experimental Brewing loves his all-in-one. Like I'm in various Facebook groups he's in as well. And I tried trolling him once, and I don't know if he's a boomer and doesn't get the humor, or he just hates me. Or it could be both. I mean, it's not mutually exclusive. But I tried trolling him a few times. But he always, anytime someone's like asking for recommendations, he's always throwing it out there. I think it is the G40 he uses as well. Again, convenience, and I would call him an expert brewer. So it's not necessarily
he's been around a long time.
Yeah, it's not just necessarily a beginner's thing. But the system
there's no drawbacks that I can think of.
Exactly. And that claw hammer too is very accessible for the brand new person, and it's very fulfilling for the very experienced person. Like that, that's the beauty of living. I say this all the time, friends. That's the beauty of living in 2023, almost 2024. It's the greatest time to be alive ever. We have so many options and everything. But right now, your daily driver or what you're brewing the bigger batches on, is a Spike or is SS? I forget what you brew on.
No, it's the big claw hammer.
Oh, yeah. I thought you had
the same thing. It's just bigger.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so my bad. Did you ever have a Herm setup? I'm speaking. I thought you did at some point, or were you just doing marketing stuff for it? I don't remember.
So actually in the Homebrewer Pro course on Udemy, I do full brew days with the Spike Solo. I've got the Brewzilla 240 volt, so malt pipe, same as yours. I use the claw hammer. I do full brew days with all of those systems to show people how similar they are, but all of them are the all-in-ones. And I wanted to do that so if somebody's shopping for one, they get to see a full brew day with, each of the systems. Yeah. On the cold side, I've got the
CF15s or
the conicals.
Yeah.
So with glycol.
That's what it was. I knew you use
folks don't need to do all of that fancy stuff when they're starting out.
They really don't, but they do. There are some people with some disposable income, my friend.
Dude, I have a couple of folks that took my course, went out and bought setups that were way nicer than mine, and they're sending me cans, and it's incredible. I'm like, dude, you just started.
That's awesome.
Like, it works. I'm like, dude, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I flubbed words because I thought for some reason you had a Herm system, but I'm not going to edit that out. I'm eating that, friends. I'm not.
No, you're good. You're good. So the Herms are nice. The reason somebody might want like a 3 vessel or something is if they're chasing that efficiency number, because with the all-in-ones, you're going to be landing around that 75 to 80% efficiency tops. Herms, just like a professional system, you're getting far higher than that. So, 89, 90% efficiency. For me, an extra pound of grains to cut that down, and I can even mash in like half an hour by playing with the recipe. It's like, dude, no brainer. I don't care what my efficiency is. If my numbers are coming out good
and the beer's tasting good
and the beer's great, then we're set.
Yeah. Well, so, I guess I assume, because here and all I did for this interview, it's going to publish, but this is just me getting free brewery consultation from you. I assumed, only because I hear frequently, like I didn't really do research on Herms until Todd and James got into it when they were developing the Brautag, which was like right before COVID. It was terrible timing in regards to trying to launch a product, but also great timing because people were home. But right. But with the Herms, my understanding that a lot of people that I've talked to who were home brewers went to pro were like, as a home brewer, it's kind of the most translatable you're going to get if you go into pro brewing. It's not a 1-for-1, but it's as translatable as it gets. So you went from all-in-one to having to learn the ropes of commercial brewing just from scratch?
So there's a couple of like fantastic YouTube channels that are exactly like my homebrew course, but they're on the brewery side. So how to carbonate, how to transfer, how these pumps work and all of that. So, I mean, just like learning homebrew, you just figure it out. And it was terrifying because I was afraid that I was about to run, $1,200 worth of ingredients into the drain. but it works out. And I have enough friends locally that are professional brewers, and they kind of held my hand through those first few brews, and it was just awesome. So as a community, you can't get any better than the brewing community, where people are just open and friendly and willing to share. They're not even secrets. Totally, it's out there. So no, we made it through. We made it through. That first batch was an Imperial Porter. And as an example of switching, like, it's not 1 for 1. And I learned this the hard way. You can't just 20x the recipe and go from 5-gallon recipe to 10 barrels. It doesn't work like that. Hop utilization is different. The crystal malts, for example, crystal and specialty malts in that porter just extracted way more potent coffee and all of that stuff, to where we had to like mellow it out with vanilla and make it drinkable. So I learned a few things the hard way, but it's not hard science to understand. And
is it going on almost 4 years of consultation work, or three years and some change of consultation work?
4.
Do you find is it common for people to go from home brewer to pro brewer, or like, what is the step? Because you're working with, correct me if I'm wrong, I did minimal homework. You're working with people who, a lot of your clients, rather not all of them, but a lot of them are brand new. Like you're helping them develop. I'll let you talk about what you help them with, but a lot of them are brand new. Hey, here's an idea from concept to reality that you're helping them develop and execute. So are you finding a lot of them as former and or current home brewers, or are you finding it just people looking for business endeavor? What's the average kind of person that you're helping on the brewery consultation side?
It's a pretty even mix, actually. So the home brewers wanting to go pro, that's usually who I'm working with if they need help reviewing a business plan or seeing all of that. Like I'll say it once, I'll probably say it 5 times on the show. Making good beer is the ticket to entry into this industry. That's the easy part. If you're a home brewer and you want to open your own shop, be ready, because you're going to face HR, taxes, SOPs, ordering in bulk, like all sorts of stuff that you have no idea what you're doing unless you've owned a different business or something like that. And so I love having those conversations. I've unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, talked probably half a dozen of folks out of opening a brewery, because we looked at their business plan. I'm like, dude, you are not ready, man. Like, you can't just go to a realtor and say, that's the building that I want. How much does it cost? It's like, is it zoned properly? Can you get licenses for it? Is it going to take 6 months or 12 months? Or, all the construction stuff. Do you have funding and all of that stuff? So those are the conversations that I have with the home brewers wanting to go pro. The other side, and this is my sweet spot, is say you're a restaurant owner. You're a barbecue joint in Texas and you want to stand out from the crowd. You want to have your own craft beer selection. So you just want 2 or 3 house recipes. We can make that on the cheap and train you how to run that system. Say it's a 1-barrel, Blickman. I've built those for clients, taught them how to use it, and it's awesome. So they're saving money for the beer that they're putting on tap. They get to advertise themselves as brew pubs, bring in new revenue, stand out from their local competitors. So it's both. It's both. Again, teaching the brewing side, I'll literally just send them the link to the homebrewer course, and it's like, okay, watch this. That's everything you need to know, and then here's your recipes, and I'll build them whatever recipes they want. So it's pretty much split down the middle. My favorite are the bigger ones, obviously, because if you're a restaurant or a bigger business and you want to open a brewery, the budget is obviously a lot bigger. So it's easier to work with.
Yeah. And do you find that this question's, again, I'm not trying to get free consultation, but it is interesting though, I guess, and you also have to probably help them navigate every state's different liquor laws and all that. Cause like Texas, we're still pretty archaic in regards to like how breweries can serve their beer or distribute their beer if they, they have to use the 3-tier system in Texas specifically, and distributor and all that. Have you had a hassle? I mean, because to me, I guess for you doing your job diligently and me knowing you as long as I have, you're a sucker for due diligence, where I'm not. We're on the opposite ends of that spectrum, but you're having to like navigate you're helping these people navigate the entire spectrum to be as successful or be on the proper footing as possible to give them a chance at success. So what's been the biggest hurdle you think, like you say you taught those people out of it? Is it a big, daydreamer has been the biggest hurdle from someone achieving, what they're wanting to do?
Yeah. I mean, like for me, for example, if I wanted to personally open a small brewery with a tap room, I've got 4 kids. Like the reality of the numbers is just not there. Like if I wanted to just jump in both feet, like it would take 3, 4, 5 years for that to become the lifestyle business that I needed to be. And that's usually the conversations that I'm having. Like, hey, I'm a pharmacist and just don't want to be in that world anymore, but I've been homebrewing forever. Take a look at my business plan and help me, make this a reality. And it's like 15 minutes on the back of a napkin. And I'm like, are you ready to make 30 grand for the next 3 years?
Right.
Because with no healthcare, because that's what you're looking at. And that is just a sobering reality for them. And so it's the folks. And again, that's the dream. A lot of homebrewers want to do that. And so, it doesn't take a lot to run those projections and show them like, hey, at this profit in your area, the numbers just don't make sense unless it's a total side gig. And if you want it to stay a side gig, then that's totally fine. Like, do you just, be open a couple nights a week or whatever.
Right.
And it works. On the legal stuff, so I've got 2 pro brewers that have many more years of production brewing experience on the team. We do have a CPA. So there's like formal experts in these, and then a marketing and branding specialist. So the team is there for when I get in over my head on the legality side. So I can't take credit for that, but when they come to me, I'm the face to the customer. I appreciate I've got people to turn to.
I appreciate you pointing that out because you're right. Big Pop Brewing, you are the face, but it's an all-encompass turnkey team that you've got to address this stuff. No, that's a very important thing because you're right, because some people will listen and go, well, why should I trust him, Josh? Because he's your friend. I'm like, no, that's probably the 19th reason to trust a person.
No, I've got smart people behind me that make me look good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had 2 things in my head when you were talking there. One about the side hustle. People with that either go to their passion project of like, I'm going to start a brewery, or they end up in a pyramid scheme. It's almost always one of those 2 things. Thank you for not steering them, or maybe you are steering them in. The board pharmacist, here, get into Tupperware or any given rapid weight loss one. And then the other one, when you're talking about $30K a year and no health insurance, I was like, what? They want to work for Todd Burns? Am I right? Kidding. Sorry. I'm trying to get him in while I can. No. Well, and I don't want to just emphasize on your consultation side, but it's so interesting to me because people don't realize until they maybe bite off more than they can chew how much of the picture they might be missing without another set of eyes or expertise to be there. You're basically your role is advocate for their success, and I appreciate you being honest that hey, there are people I've talked to where we ended up deciding like you should not do this yet, if ever, because you're talking yourself basically out of more money, and you're talking them out of, but it's good because it also backs up like what you said earlier about our industry overall on the home brewing and the commercial side. 99% of people are very approachable, accessible, and cool, where they want, success is in the best interest for craft beer. If you're going to help a brewery launch, you want them to be successful because it's in the best interest, not just for your portfolio, but for the industry at large. Having access to good craft beer is a wonderful thing that I wish every town had locally. That'd be the dream. Like if every town had a good Kolsch on tap, I could die a happy man. And by good every town, I mean, I just want St. Marcus, my hometown right now, to have good Kolsch on tap. The only brewery that had a Kolsch type blonde that was delicious, Aqua Brew. I don't think they don't have a tap room anymore, and I can't find their Aqua Reina. I can't find it anymore at stores. And Frew stopped distributing to Texas for whatever reason.
What?
I can't get Frew anymore.
No.
I can't get Frew anymore. So I'm brewing Kolsch, which is fine, whatever. But I like Frew every once in a while. I can get Gaffel, no offense to Gaffel. I like you enough. You're fine. I prefer Reisdorf. I'm having a harder time finding Reisdorf. Gaffel seems to be the only one I can. It's a cruel joke. Every now and then when I think we're living in a simulation designed specifically for my enjoyment and pleasure, crap like this happens. And I'm reminded, nope, it's not about you, Joshua.
Well, I remember when we did the Kolsch Cup, you did that last year. I sent in a bottle of fruit and only like vaguely scraped off the label.
Oh yeah, it was the best.
And, that was my entry.
Yeah.
And I still lost.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
because I wasn't the one that judged it, remember?
Serve the people.
I know.
Perfect.
Here's my problem with Kolsch Cup, as in the problem of me with it, is I am so dedicated to anonymity that when I know whose it is, I didn't know that you did that with the fruit till afterward, but I knew that I saw your number and I knew it was yours, so I was like, okay, I can't judge his, because I didn't know that's what you did until after the fact. So I give.
Well, I sent my own too.
No, I know, but I'm saying with that bottle. Well, with that bottle.
Right.
But I didn't like the beers that we judged of yours, rather. I didn't want to judge at all because I was like, I know him and I can't get
it's biased.
I don't want to be biased. Or like our buddy Kenny Brewer of Seville, who pour one out for the homie. He just announced his show is over or on hiatus. He's taking a break to focus on himself. We wish you the best, Kenny. When you get the show relaunched, maybe we'll have you back on. But either way, he sent in cans with his whole logo and stuff. I'm like, crap, I know that's him. I can't judge it. Actually, worst case, if y'all's beer is terrible, we're broadcasting. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I don't know who brewed this. It's I didn't want to do that. But on the other end, I didn't want to be like, mental games or whatever. But we did. That was 2021. Yeah. We didn't do Kolsch Cup 2022, and then we brought it back this year. And then we also did an alt beer competition. And I don't know if you keep up with us. I don't expect you to. My parents do, and that's about it.
I do.
Yeah. But the alt cup winner was on last week, and he actually won the first Kolsch Cup. Brian Garrity. The guy's just a winner with German hybrids.
Way to go, Brian.
And he brews old school. Like he's brewing like turkey fryer, it is wild to me. I guess you to reiterate this, I'm sure. Good, like you said, brewing good beer is not the key to commercial success.
Correct. It's marketing and business.
Yeah, because people can brew good beer on their stovetop, but you're not going to scale the stovetop and be successful necessarily. Like
one of the recent clients that I worked with, they're out of Sonora, California. That system is way older. Like it's got to be 80, 90 years old. Like the dials don't work anymore. It's run by a steam generator that was absolutely terrifying to be around. I've never used one before. I'm like, I don't even know how to turn this thing on. You're sitting there with like one of the stick lighters, like lighting the pilot light. It's like, it's creaking and groaning like in the old movies, but it gets the job done. The science is very easy. I mean, if you can do temperature control, you're good to go.
Humans have been making this beverage for a while. It's been a little bit.
Oh yeah.
We've been making it a while, which leads me to kind of the bigger thing I wanted to talk about. You are one of the few people I've talked to who made the transition from I'm a passionate home brewer into craft beer is something I do for a living. And even more now, you've turned all your knowledge and expertise into this. I said golf course centric because I wrote your intro. It's just so people know. People are like, that intro, this or that. I did it and told him what I was saying. Yeah, I didn't ask you for an intro because I was like, I know this guy. I'll write it. But it is a hop water brand that is really focused for golf course consumption, as in golf courses selling it, the cart lady driving around, hey, can I get you anything, this and that. It's a non-alcoholic beverage. I want you to talk about the formation of it, why you went NA, non-alcoholic, and instead of because your expertise is certainly craft beer as well. So what was the all-encompassing sort of thought behind the launch of Hazard's Hop Water? This one is fun.
So, and I actually did it very begrudgingly. I was like, the last thing I need is another side gig or hobby. Like I need a stick in the eye. So I'm sitting there having a couple of beers with a buddy of mine. And I did a brewlosophy experiment on hop waters. One was with, one of the CO2 extract hops and one was T90. And we wanted to see if folks could tell the difference. So what better slate than hop water where there's nothing to hide behind? So you're like, all you're going for is that. Turns out they could not tell the difference. So anyway, I had that on tap and he's drinking it and he's like, man, this is really good. I'm like, thank you. I just tried it. I watched the More Beer video on how Lagunitas makes it with the biotransformation and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, I'll use that. He's drinking on it and he's like, man, I wish I had this on golf courses, because in between beers, either I can't drink or just want to level up my game and not be completely sauced on the course. But I still have something in my hand that's not either soda or tea, or, the Arnold Palmer is the classic that all the golf courses have. So we're sitting there talking. He's like, we got to commercialize this. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to have a brewery or production facility or whatever. And at the same time, I'd been talking to who turned out to be our third partner, a guy named Michael at Coppergate Design. He's who I turn my consulting clients to when they need branding and marketing help. And so I was like, dude, okay, if Michael's in and we have help on the social media and website stuff, we'll give it a go. And so we met, all the three of us. And so my buddy Ben is sales, I'm production and marketing. So for the first time, I'm not out there, beating the street doing sales, which is historically what I do. We started this company, and within 3 months, we had our website, our business license, 3.5 barrel fermenter, headed to one of the local breweries who I'm partnering with. So I brew out of their facility. So I don't have to own it, have leases and all that stuff. And we landed on golf just as a case study to see if people would like it. And so niching down has helped us really focus that marketing. That's how we came up with our logo. So if you're on YouTube, you can see it's the cool little golf ball guy there. So Michael knocked it out of the park with that. And then it was just a matter of like making test batches and getting out there and doing pre-sales, to bars, tap rooms, bottle shops. Anybody can carry. My barber shop has it because they have taps there as well. And so it's like, hey, this is a cool NA option. Are people liking it? And they did. So we've been sold out. Like every batch that I brew is just like gone. Golf courses love it, that it's niched down to it. It's easy enough to go put a pop-up tent and just sit behind the driving range, and everybody walking by, they're like, oh, what is this? And so we just, give them samples and sell it. So the reason I landed on NA is just because I have such a good craft brewing scene here. I'm in the local Brewers Guild. We're not saturated, but we're getting there. And for me to compete against my buddies just felt yucky, and I don't want to have to drive or commute to somewhere else. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. So I have the support of the guild. The cool little silver lining on this is that both Michael and I both have a case study for our clients. And it's like, look, I've done it. We're successfully achieving it. We did it debt-free. We did it in 6 months. And like, this is how I can show you how we did it step by step. And so it's been really fun. I'm exhausted all the time, but we'll get to the point, hopefully within the next couple of years, to where I can white label that with one of the local breweries and say they're making 10 barrels at a time and they have canning lines and all of that. And I guess just kind of supervise recipe creation and do the R&D and all of that stuff. So that's Hazard's Hop Water.
Dude.
And it's really exciting.
How many birds did you kill with the stone? You're like, because like you said, the whole experience is just benefiting everything that you're trying to do and your partners are trying to do, and it being a commercial success is kind of icing, I guess, in regards to like, you did the market study. Now you're going to be that much better of a brewery consultant in regards to, because like what you're doing is so interesting. And I like that your scene is good. Like you're like, my scene is great with beer. Yeah. Right? So you found a niche that maybe they're into as well, but wasn't, like you said, like what you're doing. Hop Water is still, I'm in the Austin area, so it's been around here in regards to at tap rooms, like having it as a designated driver's option. And and so like you don't want to just drink Topo Chico all night. Okay, here's Hop Water with some more, because there are, correct me if I'm wrong, and big disclaimer, FDA doesn't approve these claims or whatever I have to say, but isn't there allegedly also some gut benefits to hops? I think I've read that before, where like people, at least that's the marketing pitch, right? They're like, hey, hops are actually not, I don't know if medicinal is the right word, but they're antioxidant.
They're antimicrobial by nature. That's why we can put them directly into a fermenter and not worry about anything because they protect themselves. And they do have its calming effects, just like a tea. So we don't really lean on that. We lean more on the snarky kind of, you suck at golf, why not be sloshed? So pick up a hazards.
I love it.
We could dive into we could put the CBDs or the other things in there, but I'm like, no, let's just keep it simple. One of our marketing ideas, we're working on this in the background, is having me on a dimly lit stage or something, talking about how we're creating such an awesome culture at Hazards, and all we want is our customers to succeed. And one of my partners walks up and smacks me upside the head, like, no, we just make hop water. So that's kind of the vibe that we're after, because if I'm on a golf course, I don't care. I'm probably 3 cans of beer deep, all the other health benefits, but they are there. Yeah. So, if we changed target audience, we may lean into that more. Say if we were the go-to drink for designated drivers, we'd just create a whole new brand, same product, and then, start listing those for somebody that otherwise would reach for, Liquid Death or something like that. Right.
I was just man, we're on the same page in regards to thinking what I want. Liquid Death is the first thing that always comes to my mind of mass marketing done right for the most simplest of beverages. It's water.
Incredible. That's the wave we're trying to ride.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It is.
Newer generations are not turning to craft beer like ours did. We're both old, so we get.
Are you as old as I am? I'm 38. Are you?
I'm 40.
Shut up! Why are you aging better than me? You look at that beautiful head of hair. Hold on, I got to do the rest of this episode bald now for just egghead.
Yeah, I turn 40 next year, so
I hate that.
I'm feeling it though.
Shut up.
So the NA brands are definitely growing. I am doing some test with the NA beer side for another local brewery that wants to get into that. They're just more health conscious, or turning to liquor instead of beer. And so I wanted to be on that NA side of things. And as it gets more popular, because nobody knows what hop water is. If you walk out and survey the average person, they're like, what the heck? So that's our biggest challenge, is just informing people that it's there. So yeah, it's all marketing.
Again, being and sorry, I look ridiculous. I couldn't put it back on right. Being in the Austin area, I can totally vouch for everything you're saying in regards to young people. And maybe it's because they're all from California. I forgot to tell people, you're in the West Coast.
Sorry about that.
No, no, it's good. What's the most interesting thing to me is in regards to the beverage industry, as much as people want to dog on the West Coast, y'all typically set the trends that then plagued the rest of the country. Like the hoppy IPAs. I know New England IPAs, obviously y'all aren't New England, but I mean, like, y'all were doing very hazy stuff as well, and double hops.
Portland, Seattle, San Diego,
the Pacific Northwest, the whole West Coast. And so the NA scene, Californians, whether they're native to it or not, are very health conscious on painting with the broad brush, obviously.
As a whole, yeah.
And so Austin is like this little micro California wannabe in regards to especially trends. And so you go to a bar and they've got, Pabst Blue Ribbon is still popular, which I'm not dogging on them. They're doing it great, whatever. But a ton of non-alcoholic options, or very low calorie alcoholic, like Michelob Ultra, for all its faults as a company or whatever people might find faults in it, they got their niche early in regards to maybe people want to get that little buzz in the night, but they certainly don't want to feel it on their hips the next morning. They don't want to feel bloated and this and that. And so they found it. Yeah, NA, I'm with you. As much as I don't like it necessarily, I want everyone to be a fun.
NA beer is still gross. I still have yet to figure out how to solve that riddle. I'm trying.
Well, and explain to me before I let you go too about hop water. You don't have to say your recipes as much as is it carbonated hot water that's been infused with hops? Is that basically what we're going for here?
Yep. So you want your water pH to be like 3.2 to 3.5. We use citric acid for that. And then there's calcium chloride and other minerals to get the water flavor just right, because again, there's nothing to hide behind. So everything starts with RO. We custom build that up, bring to boil, get down to Whirlpool and we add, so our classic Citra is obviously Citra hops, and we Whirlpool for a certain amount of time and then drop it, carbonate it, and it's good to go. I get it into the fermenter, and so we do all of this in our unit tank, and it sits on ale yeast for a couple of days, and that takes away a lot of the vegetal like afternotes that a lot of hop waters have. It's really clean. If you don't know beer or hops, if you took a sip of it, you would assume it's like grapefruit or citrus. It's really that good.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Took, I don't know, like 5 or 10 test batches that I was okay with. But then once we really drilled in and figured out the recipe, we're like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. And I had to keep in mind that, say, what I can do at a homebrew scale, for example, take out the hop spider while it's chilling so that there's no more Whirlpool additions happening. It's really hard to do that when you scale. And so I had to solve the riddle thinking through the commercial side as well, because once we go to white label or we get our own production facility, I have to be able to recreate that at a large scale. So there were just multiple things to consider. And then if you are making it for your brewery or you want it on tap, there's other considerations like there's no alcohol in it. So your draft lines, that's why you don't see NA beers on tap, because it's a breeding ground for microbes. It's got all the sugars and all that stuff. And so there's like rigorous line cleaning that has to happen, making sure that it's shelf stable because it did have yeast in it. And so, something could go wrong in the cans. And so there were a lot of little things that I've had to iron out over time, but it's been a fun kind of trial and error thing. And yeah, we figured it out.
Normally, this is the part of the show where the last question I asked a homebrewer on the Homebrewer Showcase is, how do I look in this beanie? No, I asked them how, like normally that question is, what is the bigger picture? You didn't go pro. We've already established that you did. With Hazards, is the bigger picture nationwide distribution, or have you found your niche in the Pacific Northwest or in California and your coast? Like what is the bigger picture for you, and how plausible is it for cans of hop water to be distributed nationwide?
Totally. So right now our cost of goods sold is my entire focus. So how much do the cans cost? How much is freight? How much are the ingredients? How much is blah, 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 blah. Once we can order, say, a pallet of each can SKU at a time, it drops our cost significantly. Cans are the most expensive part of this. Once we get to that level, then we can get onto, there's a couple of websites where you can wholesale order non-alcoholic options. Air Goods is one of them. And once we're there, then yes, any golf course in America or brewery, taproom, whoever wants to carry it can order it there. So I don't know, realistically, a year or two before we can get to national distribution. But I also still have 4 kids, other jobs, and other stuff. So I don't get to just go, make all the hop water in the world. So we're trying to grow organically and without any debt. So low and slow is the name of the game. As frustrating as it is, it would be really nice to be able to just like, hey, this is what I'm going to do full time. But no, it's we're making progress, and I mean we're only 6 months old.
So
we started that conversation in September, so not even that. So yeah,
very young,
lots of fun stuff.
Very young business. How can people keep up with you, Ryan? I know obviously we mentioned the course on. Do I always mispronounce Udemy? Is it Udemy?
I think it's Udemy. But
Udemy.
I don't know. Google it.
Whatever.
And a lot of those videos are on my YouTube as well.
Oh, right on.
The meat and potatoes of it is only in the course, but you can still see those brew days with the all-in-ones and all that stuff is all on my YouTube. I just put one up there 2 days ago, I think. So
YouTube.com.
You can get a taste of what that course is on my YouTube. That's why I'm putting them up there.
Yep. And I'll put in the link. That's youtube.com/Big Pop Brewing.
Big Pop Brewing. And everything is Big Pop Brewing. Instagram is where I usually hang out, even though the algorithm has been insanely frustrating recently. And, it is what it is. I still post stuff on there. I just put some some distilling ventures on there, and hoping to not get my hand slapped. But
that's not legal, bro.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Todd did
on some Applejack.
We had a video of Todd doing corn mash for distilling, and we had to take it down. I mean, I don't know how legit the strike was, but somebody narked on us. Somebody narked on us, and
not fair.
But
there's cool people.
But there's content like that out there. And the petty jerk in me is like, I'm going to report that, but they didn't do it to me. I'm not going to do that to them. But yeah, we got, it scared me because I was like, it was some, threatening. Basically, YouTube strikes scare me in that I work adequately hard, friends, on what I do for a living, which don't ask me what I do for a living. It's none of your business. But
nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. But but when YouTube threatens us, like, oh, your channel might be taken down, I have all the content, but building up an organic, interactive audience and all that, and then to just possibly lose it because of something stupid I did or said, that terrifies me. That terrifies me.
So on the distilling side, I can show how to make essential oils, or how to, the assembly and how it still works. Like all of those things.
That's all you're doing.
As long as we're not,
you're not making booze.
The biggest, it's taxes, man. They just want to tax what you produce. And if they can't, then they get butthurt about it.
They're very butthurt. I know. Down with the man. The whole point of this show was revolution. No, but they can find, like you said, Big Pop Brewing is basically everywhere. I love, like you said, the little tongue-in-cheek marketing y'all are doing. It's worth following Hazards for, even if you're like me in Texas and you're not going to get it anytime soon in regards to commercially. It's an account worth following. Y'all, you're the guy you're talking about doing all the graphic design and all that. The stuff's cool. It's a cool logo. If y'all need to do some stuff where you need someone who's terrible at golf already, call me up. I'll use Todd's money to fly out there. I am terrible. Here's so I play.
Oh, I'm awful.
I play disc golf.
I'm awful.
And disc golf people call it ball golf. And golf people, when I say ball golf, they're like, "What other kind of golf is there, idiot?" So I was going to say I'm really bad at ball golf. I'm bad at golf, guys. I'm really bad at golf. But it is an interesting concept, and I appreciate you taking the time because a lot, like I said, one of the most common questions, and I can't take it on the show more than maybe once a year, if even that. A ton of people want to know, what would you suggest if I want to get into craft brewing in my own brewery? And almost every time I'm messaging them, like, don't do it. That's my suggestion right now. Don't do it. But maybe I'll start pointing them towards your way. Again, if they are interested in the process, or if anyone's watching and listening and does have the bug and the resources, and they've done a little bit of their homework, they can get you at Big Pop Brewing, bigpopbrewing.com. Yep. All your info's there. They can get with you and you can help them develop.
My advice to folks like that is go work at one. Go find an established brewery and put in the hours. Do a couple of volunteer shifts on the hot side, do some on the cold side, do a packaging line. Like, your eyes will be open to a whole new world that it's not that. It's a whole new world. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Yep. Trademark Aladdin on a carpet ride, whole new world. Okay. Anyways, Ryan, my buddy, thank you so much for the time. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and all that, and we'll catch up with you later.
Always a pleasure, Josh.
Thank you, my friend. And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, why don't you go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, call it in, leave a voicemail, be Todd's best friend, get yourself a $25 gift card when you use our hotline 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsors like Munton's Malt, the creators of premium ingredients in malt. You can get their stuff in our recipe kits when you join a recipe receiving tier at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Also, thank you to hopsdirect.com, the best hops available online. Give them a try by going to hopsdirect.com and getting what you need for your next brew day. And of course, our long withstanding sponsors at Imperial Yeast. Get premium packs of them with our recipe kits again when you join the Chub Club at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. On behalf of the absent Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.